Assalamu alaikum everyone. In this video, I want to introduce you to using Jupyter Notebook. Actually, Jupyter Notebook is very useful, especially if you are a computer engineering student or computer science. Actually, many engineering students in courses like machine learning, anything related to data science, and also computer vision and image analysis. And for me personally, that was the first time to use Jupyter Notebook. It was the computer vision course in my university during my master's at ETH, and it was quite new for me. It was also my first time programming on Python. So, what does Jupyter have to do with Python and why are we using it? It's very useful to visualize your outputs and document the code and the outputs. And if we're talking about a course like computer vision, you have a lot of, it's all about visualization, right? You have to see the images to see if, the code worked correctly. And it's nice to document like each segment of code, what would be the output, rather than just having pure code. So it's very user friendly and it's like now used everywhere in most universities as a for learning. So it's very useful and it's good that you are if you're a student or even an engineer or a researcher that you are familiar with such software. It's open source and free, just like Python. And this is the main website. And Jupyter actually works with many programming languages, but the most common one is Python. There's Jupyter Lab, but for today's video, it's about Jupyter Notebook specifically. As the word says, it's like in the name, it's a notebook, literally. It's just a notebook where you can actually have written text. So if you see this picture, you can have like a title and nicely having text and explanation. And then you could also have code with that actually runs, and the output will show after the code. So the text is called Markdown, and these cells where you can write code is just for codes. So I want to explain how to install Notebook and how to like start coding with it. Basically, it's not that straightforward, so there are some details in it. So let's see how we can install Notebook. Now, keep in mind that you have to have Python to be able to install Notebook. So make sure you have a Python version on your computer. I have version 3. And we're going to use what we call this command, which is for Python packages. So Jupyter Notebook is considered like a package for Python. And you just have to go to your command prompts. So I have it here, and you can search it and get it, or use the shortcut. And then just type pip install Jupyter. So I'm not doing the lab, it should be the notebook. Install the notebook, yes. Oh, okay, so the notebook is down here. So I'm just gonna copy this command and install here. So it's successfully installed Jupyter Notebook. Now I can start it. So to start it, to run the notebook, we have to press copy and paste this command, Jupyter Notebook. And if you want to work in a folder, you have to choose it from the beginning. So just type cd and put the path that you want to go to. So for me, it's this path. Let me show you here. So I just copy this path, and after the cd, I'll just paste it, and it will go to that path, a directory. I'm already there. Now I can use this command to run Jupyter Notebook. So Jupyter Notebook. So notice that you have this page which shows you that it's gonna start accessing the notebook, and you should keep it open. And in this folder, so it opens like a local host, and inside the folder where you put in the command prompt. So I have a simple Python program. So before showing you this on Jupyter Notebook, I want to show you this. If you already program with Python and you use an IDE like VS Code. So for example, I have this code. So just x equal to 2, and then I multiply by 5, and I'm just printing some, welcoming message and the output, and then I can just run it. So if you're using VS Code, you run code. It's a .py Python file, and let's just close all of these. And we have the terminal where it shows the outputs. Just try it again. So this is my outputs. And every time I, run something and like a new output, like this restarts, the terminal restarts and shows a different output. But with Jupyter Notebook, if I copy the same code, and let's make a new file. Notice Jupyter Notebook extension is not .py. This is a normal Python file. The notebook has a different file, so just make sure you select a Python, so new, and choose Python 3 kernel, and it will open for you a notebook. So you see here I opened one, so it's already there, and the extension is IPYNB. So Jupyter Notebook has a different extension than a normal Python file. It's a different file, and this is the whole point why we're using it. So I will say, for example, simple program, and I'm gonna copy the code that I had in the Python file. To run, we can just press Shift Enter, and you see here you have this output now. So let's say I want to change X and still keep the output for the previous one. I'll just change it here and have the outputs. So it's nice that you see the code and the output in one place where you can save later on. Now, if you're using Python, if you're in a computer vision course or machine learning, you would use modules, right? For example, let's use math module. So let's import math. And here I want to, let's say, for example, x is 4, and I want y to be the square root. So I'll use math square root of x, which is 2. So if I import the math module, I can use it directly. Let's try now with NumPy. So NumPy is a numerical module where you can have a lot of new operations and functions. And one of them is creating an array. So let's say we have to import NumPy, and we usually say, we give it a shortcut, import NumPy as NP. Or let's leave it as NumPy for now to simplify. And let's say I want x. So x is multiplication. Y is a multiplication of x by 2. And x is an array, so I'll say NumPy, which is the module name, dot array, and then open curved brackets, and then square brackets to what array I want. So let's say 1, 2, 3, built-in module, like math. So I need to install it. So importing, I have to import it, but if I don't have it installed, then it will not find it. So to install, there are two ways. Either we go to the command prompt and install. So we also use pip install, the same command. So the same command we used before. Or we can write it here in the notebook itself. Let me first try with the command prompt to show you. So because in the command prompt we open the Jupyter notebook. So I prefer to do it here. So let's make another kernel, separate one. So I can say insert cell above, and this one I will use for installation. And I will say pip install numpy. Now this is what you should put in your command prompt. Now here it will not work, it shouldn't work, because we need to put a certain keyword. But actually it worked. So, but I thought that you have to put exclamation mark. Interesting. So it works even without the exclamation mark. But so by definition, if we want to run a bash command that we usually run on the command prompt, we want to run it on Jupyter Notebook, usually you would put an exclamation mark. And we also have magic commands where we put a percentage. So these are usually commands like make your life easier, so you can search about them. And you also have the help here. So this shows you all, like, for example, shortcuts. You can see the shortcuts, how to do different things. So if to run, you have to press Shift Enter to run a cell. This is, I think, the most important command. Okay, so let's try running this guy again. Now it's working. So because we installed NumPy, we don't have to run this all the time. So that's it. That's basically a Jupyter Notebook, how you use it, how you can run code. And you can also actually save it as a PDF. And that I will show because that's very important. Let me also show you how we can make some markdowns. So can insert cell above, and then we can change the cell type to markdown. And here we can type, so example, how, or let's say this is to install NumPy module. And then if you press Shift Enter, it will be converted to text. You can have here also insert cell below. Make it markdown, and here this is a simple program. And you can have some description, obviously. You can also add titles, and you can explore. And now to convert this to a PDF, there are many ways, and it's pretty complicated. I don't remember it was this complicated when I was using it as a master student, but here, so the simple way that you don't need to install any extra packages, you don't need to use an external or unsafe website, is just to convert it to HTML. So download as PDF, not PDF via HTML, just HTML. And then you can open it here. So you have this file, and then print it as a PDF. Thank you for watching, and I hope you benefit from this video.